Hey everyone, it's been a little while since we've done a latest science updates. So I thought I'd bring you up to speed. There's quite a few studies I've had a look at over the past month. Often I read them and get quite frustrated because we seem to be studying very predictable, known things that we all know will be positive and beneficial for someone suffering back pain. And yet we put a lot of money into funding these research trials anyway. Money I think could be spent in a more efficient way to help people in pain, but that's my personal opinion. So I'm going to link the 4 or 5 studies that I'm discussing today in the notes below. The first one, basically, researchers were looking at lean muscle mass. They found that a higher proportion of adipose tissue, which is fat tissue in the back muscles, was associated with chronic back pain. So the flip side of that is the more lean muscle mass you have supporting the spine, then I guess the less your chances of developing chronic back pain are. I think that one's fairly self-evident. I don't think we need to dive too deep on that. Certainly, the results didn't surprise me. I think it's an example of how conditioned you are. The better physically conditioned you are, the lower your chances of developing chronic back pain. So I think that's a simple, predictable finding. The second one, the study I wish to discuss was looking at the benefits of nature for people in chronic pain. Look, we all know nature's really good. The fact we have to study that to prove that is kind of frightening to me. But anyway, I'm glad it's happening. Specifically, I'll read you a paragraph that caught my attention that may be of use to you. It found that people able to spend time in their own garden saw some health and well-being benefits. However, those that were able to immerse themselves in larger green spaces such as forests felt even more positive, as they were able to lose themselves in the environment and focus more on that than their pain levels. So the researchers then went on to recommend trying to incorporate time spent in nature into people's treatment plans, also using their findings to develop virtual reality interventions that allow people to experience some of the benefits of being in nature without the need to travel anywhere if they are unable to do so. And I kind of like that. I think the sounds, the visions, I know the color green is very calming on the brain. I think there's definitely got to be sound frequencies from nature that soothe the brain. And I think, yeah, it's common sense, but again, why not? Why not emphasize the fact that going for a daily walk outside in nature is possibly one of the most therapeutic things you can do if you're in chronic pain. So I liked that one. As I said, I'll flick the details below. And also, feel free to comment. Be interesting to know your thoughts. If you're someone in pain, how do these studies and their outcomes land for you? Is it new knowledge or is it something that's very obvious to you? I'd like to know. The next one I'm going to talk about is this one I quite like as well. There's a University UNSW, I think that's in New South Wales in Australia. They've come up with a brain game called Pain Wave, which is a drug-free treatment for nerve pain. Not specifically nerve pain from back pain, but nerve pain, which relates to people in stubborn back pain. So it combines a game-like app and brain monitoring headset, and it teaches the brain how to regulate abnormal brain activity that can be linked to chronic nerve pain. So that's potentially done in the home. It's a non-invasive method, no drugs, and it really can start to treat some of the hypersensitive brain spaces. So again, bioneurofeedback is an amazing tool. I've done some study on it in the past, and the thing that diverted me from studying it further was the cost that was going to be involved for clients to access it. It was going to require 30 treatments, $100 a pop. We're looking, $3,000, quite an expensive application, but I think with the development of new technologies which bring it into the home, make it happen through your phone, I think it's going to become way more affordable for people to access. And I really like it. I think it's quality. I think it targets issues where they start, which is in this brain center often. So yeah, I like that idea of pain wave. Again, I'll put the link below so you can keep an eye on that one. Um, Another study came out. They combined physical and psychological therapies, exercise along with cognitive behavioral therapy, mindfulness. And guess what? They found that combining those approaches was far superior than simply one or the other. And I cannot tell you how it's great that we're starting to research this. I guess it's an acceptance from the medical model that we are an integrated being, that the thoughts in our head affect how we feel, which affects our tissues and our ability to heal. So yeah, I think it's a no-brainer, but nice to see it being studied. And I would say the whole basis of the Bulletproof Backs method is this holistic approach. It is about treating your thoughts, treating your feelings, treating your movement patterns, and stacking all those benefits in an integrated way. So, yes, I like that the studies are confirming that combining treatment protocols that affect all of us is a really smart idea. Now, the final one is one I'm actually really excited about, so much so that I reached out to the researchers who will be coming up on one of my future podcasts. This one was done by the University of Aberdeen. Dr. Guy Berwick and his team have identified crucial evidence which has laid the foundations for the discovery in Taiwan. He's combined um, research with Professor Chen's team in Taiwan. They're looking at Eastern approaches to pain and Western and kind of neurologically trying to figure out how the pain pathways are working. So, I love the fact we have this cross-cultural research going on based on cross philosophies of Western and Eastern. I think that's groundbreaking and I love that that's happening. And looks like they've had a really good breakthrough. With the collaboration, they have found that too much glutamate release has activated pain nerves nearby, making them permanently active and not able to switch off as they normally would. And crucially, they then discovered that by blocking the newly discovered highly unusual glutamate receptor, it entirely stopped the chronic pain being triggered in the first place. So this is really cool. We're just dialing down and understanding pain science just that little bit better with a whole new receptor discovery, and a whole new pathway, I guess, that's going to now get a lot more focus. So they can start to develop new treatments specifically targeting this new pain pathway, which up until now has not responded to the standard painkillers. So that's exciting. It's not all just about back pain, of course, but it's a pain science breakthrough, which is why I was really keen to have Dr. Bewick. I better check how he says his name before he comes on the podcast, and Professor Chen from Taiwan. So that's going to be a great chat. I'm excited to talk to them about the cross collaboration, how that came to be, and also what they think this means for future developments in the pain med space. So, yeah, that's a bit of a wrap on the research for the last few months. A good combination of predictable, some new stuff, and I guess that confirmation that holistic approaches are the way forward. So let me know how this research lands. I'm curious. Is it what you want to know about? Isn't it? Does it help? Does it have any relevance for you sitting there in pain right now? Is there anything more you'd like to be looked at? Anything you would love the research focus to be shine on? Let me know. I'm interested, as always, in your thoughts and your experience on this pain journey. with the intention that we can move through it eventually and have you coming out the other end feeling more empowered, more understanding of who you are as a person and how this pain has been a vital part of unleashing aspects of yourself that previously were hidden. Thanks again for listening and thanks for being part of this space.